Welcome to Bloomington Rotary Club Celebration of Service. It's an honor for me to be your president. I'm Ron Barnes, and we have a great program today. I think we have an exciting day for you. I do want to thank Aaron Brewington for covering for me last week. He did a great job. Rumor has it he did an outstanding job, so let's give him a hand. Thought for the day comes from Walt Disney. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Good for Walt. Today, our reflection is Hannah Hirsch. Hannah? I saw her here a little bit ago. Oh, there she comes.
Greetings, my Rotary friends. I am so thrilled to be with you here today, kicking off the month of October, my absolute favorite time of year. It's an incredible honor to address you at this first October Rotary meeting, and let me tell you why this month is so special for me. You see, October, it marks the start of spooky season, and I love horror movies, but it also fills me with boundless joy and nostalgia because 9 years ago on 10/11, I began a beautiful journey of love and commitment, marrying the person I hold closest to my heart, my husband, Brandon Hirsch. But that's not all. October is a month of double joy for my family as both my babies were born during this enchanting time. My daughter is about to celebrate her first year, and my son is turning 3. He's vibrant and spirited. It's a month of family celebrations and cherished memories. Even our loyal livestock guardian dog, Toby, celebrates his birthday this month. Moreover, October marks a significant milestone for me personally. It is my 6-month anniversary as a member of this incredible Rotary Club. In short, I've grown, I've learned, and experienced the incredible power of community service that Rotary represents. Thinking about my Rotary journey and my family during this time, I was reminded of a wonderful book, B is for Bloomington, powered by Smart Start and the Community Foundation. It's a testament to the impact of community and education. So today I'd like to share my own alphabet, R is for Rotary, and take you through the ABCs of my experiences with this remarkable organization. A is for action, the Rotary's true guide. We stand by their mission side by side. To serve one another, the globe we embrace. With love in our hearts, we make the world a better place. B is for Bloomington, where Rotary thrives. Together as members, our mission derives. Led by our president, Ron Barnes, so wise, uplifting our community under bright skies. C is for Rotary community, where we all belong in unity and togetherness. We all stand strong. D is for disease. We tirelessly fight to rid the world of illnesses with all our might. From polio to others, we're on the front lines, saving lives and spreading wellness. It's truly divine. E is for education, a key to success. Rotary supports it, we must confess. We help the children to learn to reach for the skies with books, support, and educational supplies. 4 is for 4-way test, or maybe I should say 5, because we all know fun is important and keeps laughter alive. G is for grow, what we've seen our membership do, thanks to helpers like Tracy, seeing newbies like me through. H is for happy dollars, to share milestones so bright. With each act of love, we spread delight. From one generation to another, we teach the power of givings within everyone's reach. I is for inclusion, to spread diversity we inspire. With Service Project, we aimed to bring this community higher. J is for journey, Rotary Youth Exchange. High school students, adventures so diverse and strange. They learn new cultures, schools, and much more, bringing understanding from shore to shore. K is for knowledge, which we aim to share with open hearts and minds, showing we care. L is for leadership. We cultivate well with Ryla and the stories they tell. M is for mothers and children we want to save. With care and support, a road of support we pave. N is for nurture. We strive to protect the environment's future. N is for nature. We strive to protect the environment's future we won't neglect. O is for outreach. We transcend the borders across generations, language, and orders. With Rotary's help, the world becomes small, uniting people, one and all. P is for program. Every Tuesday we hold in a community of leaders. It never grows old. Q is for quest, the journey we take to increase our impact for goodness sakes. With 4 priorities guiding our way, Rotary ensures a brighter day. R is for reflections, what I'm sharing today, our thoughts and experiences in every way. We learn and grow together as members so keen, coming together, a community seen. S is for service, a purpose so clear, to help those in need, to hold others dear. Rotary's legacy, it will never cease. Our mission is love, so our hearts can find peace. T is for truth in all that we do, honesty and integrity always shining through. Rotary's test we hold so dear, guiding us through each day and each year. U is for unity. We stand side by side in Rotary's family, our hearts open wide. V is for volunteering, a gift we carry within, our club's gift of kindness, and love always wins. W is for water, so clean and pure. Rotary ensures it. It's a right for sure. Sanitation and hygiene, we make it a goal for a healthier world where happiness can roll. X marks the spot in the IMU where we're meeting today in the Frangipani room. Y is for youth, the future they see in leadership, service, and community glee. Rotary's commitment to the young is so clear. We'll shape a better world year after year. Z is for Zoom, the software so neat for virtual meetings. It can't be beat. In times of distance, it bridges the space. With joy as our host, we all find our place. So from A to Z, Rotary's key. Thank you.
I think we have a new resident poet, without a doubt. Wonderfully done. To introduce our guests, Steve Wicks. And by the way, Steve has double duty today. He also worked as our official greeter. Steve?
Thanks, Ron. Well, our speaker, Shelby VanDerMoere, today brought 3 guests with her. We have Lily Blackwell, Amber Stewart, and Trisha Rademacher. Charlotte Zietlow brought Maggie Sullivan. Hannah Hirsch brought Andrea Murray and Max Tortorello. And Joy, do we have any guests online?
Steve, we do not, but I welcome our guest speaker and her team today. I've had a pleasure of meeting them several weeks ago.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did have an email from Michael Shermas early this morning. We have some sad news that Liz Feidel's husband passed away. Al passed away, so keep Liz and her family in your prayers and thoughts today. We have a birthday to celebrate on October 5th, Colleen Curry. We have some anniversaries to celebrate. Members have been in Rotary for quite a while. Rex Hillary, 12 years. Sarah Laughlin, 15 years. Art Omich, 9 years. And by the way, been corresponding with Art. He hopes to get back soon, but his health is really giving him all kinds of problems. So he's epitomizing what the aging process does to all of us, I guess. But he sends his regards to all of you and hopes to be back soon. I would like to ask Bitta Deweese to come forward from Stonebelt. We have a check to give her, our quarterly check. And I'm going to ask her also, while she's up here, to help me with a drawing to see who our next group will get it. So
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
It's much appreciated.
now you get to draw one out of here.
Big to the bottom, there's always
Okay.
one take.
Yeah.
Big brothers, big sisters.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So big brothers, big sisters will be the benefit of our gifts that we present to our speakers. So much better than a coffee mug. I would like to ask Sarah Laughlin to join me for a quick announcement. October 14th is a special day along a special road, and we need your help as far as the cleanup activities. So
Well, as many of you know, I'm the chair of the Community Service Committee. With those of you who just got hats today, please put your hats on right now. There you go, Jeff, Sam, Dave, Vivian. All right, you too could have a hat, a gorgeous Create Hope in the World hat, Rotary's theme for the year, if you sign up and show up for a community service project this year. We've discovered that the hats make such great photo opportunities. There you go. And so, you know, earn your hat. Your next chance is October 14th. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We're going to do our annual trash pickup on Pete Ellis Drive. Many of you have done it before. This is also has the ingredient of our club's "Is it fun?" quote, because we start out at the Jiffy Treat on Pete Ellis Drive at 10 o'clock in the morning. We work our way down to the post office with our empty trash bags, and as they fill up, we come back, and then we end at noon at the Jiffy Treat. And last year, I think Alan rediscovered coffee ice cream for the first time in many years and was extremely happy. So we have as many slots as we can fill, really, for this one. It's really quite a bit of fun. I don't think we'll pick up as much trash as they picked up at Lake Monroe last weekend, because I understand they had lots of plastic bottles, one pair of flip-flops, and what was the other thing? Something else good. We have a competition now between the two. Who can find the weirdest trash to pick up? So if you sign up and you have something really good, let me know and we'll announce it. All right, get your hat, sign up now. I've got the sign up sheet with me. It'll also be on in roundabout on Sign Up Genius.
thanks, Sarah. We do have time for happy dollars, and I see that Dave, our camera operator, and Mike operator is here. So, and I'd like to also ask that next week we're going to have a hyper happy dollars for Rotaract. So bring your checkbooks. Anybody happy here? Yes. Sally.
I'm very happy for Teachers Warehouse, and I will give some cash that I will find in a moment. Because I want to share with everyone that the Bloomington Rotary Book Club meets in 2 weeks on Wednesday evening, whatever the date of the week that is. 17th, I believe, is the date, at Cindy and Dave's home. This is Dave. Cindy volunteered your home. And we are reading Ross Gay's A Book of Delights. Now, Ross Gay has been in the news recently because he has published a second book of delights, Book of More Delights. It's all about wonderful small things that he finds in Bloomington and around the world to be happy about. And all Rotarians are invited to the book group. If you have any questions, just let me know. We recommend that you read the book, but it's not totally required. I'm done.
I have some happy dollars, not the correct amount for the place that the Cubs finished in their division, but I am so grateful that the season is over.
Any happy dollars online?
I have some happy dollars, really for, well, not only Rotary, but to thank Connie Shackles, because she put together an improv workshop last Saturday that was unbelievably great. And I strongly suggest anyone who's interested, she said she's going to do it again, that you really see her and find out when it will be. It was so much fun. So I definitely want to give you happy dollars for that.
Thank you, Rosie. Okay, thank you very much. To introduce our program today, we have our own Natalie, who has some colleagues of hers that she would like to introduce. I have to say, I was honored to sit at the table with four of these ladies. You are going to be impressed with Shelly and what she has to offer today. It's a service that this community really deserves, and I'll tell you, it's a wonderful service. So Natalie?
I have never done this before. Only for you girls. Okay. Shelby VanDerMoere is the Mobile Integrated Health Program Manager and Community EMT for the City of Bloomington Fire Department. Her 1-year anniversary with the department is today. With a Bachelor's of Science in Human Services from Purdue University Global and an Associate's of General Studies, a certification for a community health worker, and as a nationally registered EMT, she is uniquely positioned to provide holistic care to the community in their place of need. I don't like talking up here. Shelby was most recently the recipient of the 2023 Indiana EMS Specialty Care Provider of the Year Award, presented by the Indiana Fire Chiefs Association. She presently serves as a vice president of the Owen County Infant Safety Team, where she works to prevent infant mortality. In 2019, she received a nomination for the Emergency Medical Services for Children's Award to recognize her contributions in bringing a safe haven box to Owen County. When she takes off her professional hat, you will likely find her wearing some sort of sports mom gear, cheering on her kiddos. She has a beautiful blended family with 4 children and a husband as of 10 days ago that serves right alongside her. Please welcome my friend and colleague, Shelby VanDerMoere.
I will say first that I'm super impressed by her ability to say VanDerMoere so many times. It's a hard one and not one that anyone is used to quite yet. So I will start first by just saying that I am so grateful to be able to be a part of today. And I would love to start by just introducing my team. That one is me. So I am an EMT, a community health worker, and the program manager for our mobile integrated health team.
I am Trisha Rademacher. I am the EMT, community EMT. Sorry, I don't do this a lot either. But I'm community EMT, community health worker, and our team trainer.
I'm Lily Blackwell. I am also one of our community EMTs with a background in fire. And I also serve on the Monroe County Suicide and Overdose Fatality Review.
They saved the best for last. I am Amber Stewart, and I am a EMT as well. I'm a community health worker. I also have a background in fire and a couple other things, but we'll stick with fire. So I think what's really, really cool about my team, because I could not be more proud of them, they are perfectly suited with their eclectic backgrounds. Yes, they all have EMS backgrounds and are all EMTs, but their backgrounds are heavily also in patient advocacy. So I will tell you that as we talk, you're going to understand that a huge part of what we do is really advocating for our patients in our community. So I'll start by saying, answering what the question is what is mobile integrated health? And there is a lot of information there. So just know that I'm going to explain it. You don't have to read it. We are governed by IDHS, which is the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. So mobile integrated health is something that is about 4 years old in the state of Indiana. And nationally, it's a little bit older, but we are a really big part of how that's coming to be today. So mobile integrated health is a patient-centered model of care where we get to meet the patient in their place of need, right? So sometimes that's in the home, sometimes that's attending something with the mobile crisis team and on the street. Looks really different for everybody. So among the measured benefits experienced nationally with these programs There are a huge decrease in hospital admissions, decreased in cost of treatment, and then just an overall better continuity of care and integration for patients in general. And then we're also being able to reduce non-emergency 911 calls that would otherwise tie up emergency services. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So our beginning, Miss Natalie mentioned that I have been here 1 year today. So we did start October 2022 and have officially been in business for 1 year today. When I came on with the fire department, my title officially was a community care coordinator. So we have evolved over time as community EMTs as our official titles with the city. But I think what's really important to recognize that as community care coordinators, when they initially looked at our positions, they recognized really quickly that we are huge coordinators for care, right? So that overall title initially was perfectly fit. Something that we developed over time was we required our team to also be EMTs. This was a really big deal because we are uniquely positioned to provide medical care on site as well, aside for just being, coordination of care and doing patient advocacy. So when we came on, a huge portion of what we wanted to do with positioning us with the fire department, the goal was to relieve some of the burden off of the sworn firefighter. And what that meant for them was a lot of times our firefighters are getting 911 calls and they're responding to the same calls and the same people over and over and over again, never really solving the problem, right? They're doing their job. It's not their job to solve the problem. They're responding to the emergency, right? But then they're going back in service to respond to the next emergency. It wasn't ever solving a problem, right? So our goal was to go in, and if we could prevent that repeat call, then that's what we wanted to do, taking that burden off of our department. And then also providing gap care for patients. So we were seeing, say someone gets discharged from the hospital, and then it takes a long time before they get to follow up with somebody, right? Or they've called 911 and they're not somebody that can even afford to financially follow up with somebody. We get to go in and figure out what it is that those people need holistically. Like, it could be primary care, right? It could be food. We're getting to go in and provide that overall gap care. So we have 4 main program areas. The first are falls and lifts. The second are mental health and substance use. The third is what we call healthy living, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And the fourth is maternal and infant health. My favorite thing about what we do though, and this is something that my team preaches over and over again, our goal is always to improve quality of life for the patient by 1%. We know quality of life looks very different for everybody. And you can say that for the same thing about everybody in this room. If we can just make their life 1% better, then we're doing our job. The end goal is obviously a lot % better if that's why we're there, but if we can just do it by 1% better, then we feel successful. So I'm gonna talk next a little bit about each of the programs a little bit in detail. So the first is falls and lift assist. These were when fire initially brought on the program, it is what they identified as easy wins. And it's honestly something, you see their smile, there's no such thing as easy wins in what we do. But they were ones that were most easily identified because when someone calls 911, it gets classified as a certain type of call. So fire responds to falls or assistance for lifting. So those were ones that we could figure out, okay, we're running over and over again to the same people that are falling, right? So we get to go in and figure out, okay, why are we actually falling, right? Are we falling because our home is not safe? Are we falling because we're suddenly getting dizzy all the time and that's not working out? Because there's a reason, right? If we can figure out that reason of the fall and then prevent the fall, we're not only helping out the fire department, right? But more importantly, we're being able to improve quality of life for the patient. So I can tell you when I initially took this position, as you heard with my background, I don't come from Bloomington. I was shocked coming in here and realizing the large elderly population in Bloomington. That is a huge part of who we serve. So this is really, really, really important with our falls and lifts. We have people that are elderly in Bloomington that they call, but sometimes they wait way too long to call. And we know that with a fall, the longer that they lay there, the more issues that we're going to have long term. But they're not wanting to have any sort of repercussions of having to call 911. So one of the really big things that we do is we get to go in and assess fall risks. We determine the cause of falls, and then we create fall prevention plans. And the huge thing that we get to do with that is then relieve fall anxiety. It's huge. They want to be independent. They want to be able to control their personal space. We want to give them the confidence to live in their home. And the biggest thing that we get to do is we support aging in place. So if we go in, right, we don't want them to have to go to a nursing home if that's not what they want to do. If they're wanting to stay in home or get the assistance that they need at home, that is what we want, and that's our goal. So we are huge advocates of aging in place and helping our elderly community do that. Our second one is mental health and substance use. This is something we got to talk a little bit at our table, asking how often do we feel like we're dealing with mental health issues? It is very rare that we're not an additional to something that we're going otherwise. It is very rare that we aren't also experiencing some sort of mental health issue. So these come from us a lot of times that we're able to recognize them after we've gone on a medical call. So we would have one that is having a lot of chest pain, right? But then we go to find out it's not because there's a cardiac issue, right? We're having chest pain because we're really anxious and there's a lot going on. So a lot of times we recognize those mental health calls based off of medical calls. We are really lucky that we have the opportunity to partner with Bloomington Police social workers. Our team, we are not social workers and we don't provide crisis counseling. So in the instance that we have somebody that does need crisis counseling or counseling services or social work issues, we have the opportunity to work directly with BPD and bring in one of their social workers with us. We also assist the mobile crisis team, which is our the city's 988 response. So they are stationed with Stride, which Stride's a part of Centerstone. But what's really cool with them is they'll go out because they can provide crisis counseling, right? And then there's something that additionally somebody needs. But before they can take them anywhere, they're worried about their overall health. So because we're all EMTs, we get to go in and do full assessments before they make their next decisions about, hey, should we go to the hospital? Can we go ahead and take them to treatment? Can we take them back home? What's the best way to help them? We also have a member of our team on the suicide and overdose fatality review team. And then we're just really big with collaborative efforts with other community partners, like HealthNet, for example, has a nurse practitioner that works specifically with psych patients. So we get to bring her in with us as well. So healthy living. It is what we would like to refer as really our catch-all, right? So if you call us and you say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, and they don't seem to fit in the rest of my programs, we're going to look to see if they fit here in healthy living. So healthy living addresses chronic disease management. So for our patients that are diabetic and need insulin, we watch people all the time not take their insulin or measure off their insulin over time because they can't afford it, right? That should never be a reason why you are not getting the care that you need. So we've had the opportunity to work with like our township trustees to get insulin paid for our patients. Then we also are dealing with our patients with like congestive heart failure and renal failure. We're getting to make sure that they're getting the things that they need in order to improve their quality of life. The goal is to prevent hospital readmits, right? That's a big deal. If especially after somebody has been in the hospital, we get to work closely with their case management to determine how we keep them from going back and long-term what supports they need at home. Also elderly management, and then just overall healthy families in general. So if we have a referral for somebody there is several children in the home, we can also make sure that those kids are having support for them as well. So our fourth program is maternal and infant health. This is a really big one for us. This was something that we had not intended to really put our feet first into until it kind of landed in our lap. But I feel like that's how mobile integrated health is in general. I will tell you that we received our first maternal infant health patient about a month ago after our cruise actually delivered a baby on site. And then we got to follow up with mom after. It has been a really, really cool thing to be a part of. On our team, there is representative with the Fetal and Infant Mortality Review Team, Family Vitality Initiative, and then the local ED. So like Monroe County Emergency Department does not have serve OBGYN. So if they have somebody that comes in that is pregnant for something that's non-pregnancy related, they can direct them to us. But also with Family Vitality Initiative, that is through IU Health as well. What's really cool about them is they'll go out and they'll help people, especially our pregnant moms that are unhoused. We can go in with them and provide health assessments and take vitals for them so that they can track to make sure mom is getting some of the help, that prenatal care that she needs. Our goal ultimately is to prevent maternal and infant mortality, and our program will continue to develop over the next 2 years. So referrals, this is a really big one. Where do we get them and who can make them? The answer is anyone and anywhere. When we first began, the bulk of our referrals came from the fire department because that was more of a natural fit, right? And so a crew would go out to a person, and the initial question was, well, how many times do I have to go to somebody before I can tell you about them? And the answer is there is no specific amount, right? If your gut tells you that this person needs my help, needs our help, then we want to help, and I want you to tell me about it. It has been so cool for us, because when our crews run on somebody, and even if it's not a super user of 911, and they're like, hey, I think somebody needs to look into this, they're always right every single time. So we are perfectly fitted to be within the fire department. We also get them from emergency management, our township trustees, both local EDs, hospitals, neighbors, and other community partners. And you can be one of them as well, so just remember that. So what does a visit look like, right? So somebody has referred a patient to us, and now what, right? So it starts first with an initial visit. So we go in, and a lot of the times we don't have a ton of information, right? Sometimes we just have a name and an address. Sometimes it's just an address, right? Ideally, if we could get a phone number as well, that would be great. But what's really cool with us, because we're with fire, we have a lot of that public safety trust already with us. So we have, we're able just to kind of knock on doors when we get a referral. We knock on doors and we go in and introduce ourselves, and we do some home safety checklists. We talk about appropriate questionnaires. And when I say appropriate questionnaires, if perhaps we're there and we're recognizing signs of depression or anxiety or suicidal ideation, we have all of those questionnaires that we can kind of help guide our way of making those decisions. We perform overall intakes of the patient, and that includes vitals. So we've done our first initial visit, right? Within a week, we are making our second visit. So our follow-up visit, one of the first things we do is we take a set of vitals to establish trends, right? Because I want to know if this person has blood pressure issues. And last week, they're taking their blood pressure medicine and it was fairly under control. But this week it's through the roof. Did we take our medication, right? If we did, what's going on today? And do we need to go to an emergency department? We're addressing outstanding issues overall. So those outstanding issues are things that we noticed first in our initial appointments, and then we're advocating and coordinating for our patients. I will tell you that in August, we received our 100th referral to the program, which is huge. We have 43 open patients presently, and we see them an average of 6 times. So that's a really big deal for us. We are not just we're going to show up one time, or even 2. We're going to continue to show up for you until we feel like we can mutually graduate you from care. So over the next couple of slides, we're going to share a couple of cool success stories with mobile integrated health.
So this is my patient. I had the absolute honor and privilege to meet these guys when I was very new to MIH and still kind of getting my feet under me. But with my leader, we managed to connect with this lovely couple who are in their 80s. And they have 2 special needs sons that live within the home. They're super busy with their jobs and activities with a community group that they are active with. And these folks were just so kind. They just needed somebody to step in and say, okay, how can we help you? So we got in there, we figured out what the needs were. We did our home safety check. And then we connected them with agencies like Area 10. You see here, the list was very long. But what ended up happening with this, it felt so good, right? Because those 2 sons were so active. They had a competition that they were going to be in another town. And we were able to connect them with a provider that could come in and provide a little bit of respite for the wife who was taking care of the husband, who was finding himself in a wheelchair now, having those frequent falls. Found them a connection for a healthcare provider that could come in and sit with him so mom could go be with her sons at these competitions. So they kind of just, all of these community resources we connected them with, jumped in, filled the need that was there. And what was the most rewarding, on top of, as if anything else could be better, this family actually called us again because they had a neighbor that they said, you know, you guys did all of these really cool things for us. Can you step in and do this for our neighbor? So now we're working with the guy across the street. So that was my sweet friends. And I'll pass it off to who? Thanks.
So the patient that I selected, he was initially referred to our program from the emergency department. They were concerned that he had frequent visits to the emergency department for ETOH, which is alcohol and substance use. When we went to visit with him, we found that he was living in a garden shed without any utilities and sleeping on a hardwood surface. He had very limited access to food, and he had no healthcare system other than emergency services. We quickly discovered that he also has dementia and has a previous traumatic brain injury that affects his mental competencies. On top of that, he has pending criminal charges for trespassing into the garden shed at his family home. With trying to get him transported to the emergency department, we discovered that some of our own peers even believe that he is a drug seeker, which is kind of a dirty term to use about any patient. We were able to help this patient by establishing primary care for him with HealthNet And he now sees a nurse practitioner that was able to prescribe him medication and diagnosed him with Parkinson's disease. And we were able to determine that this pain that he was calling for emergency services for was actually caused from his Parkinson's disease. And with treatment, he has had a lot less symptoms. He's been added to the emergency housing list and is awaiting placement at an extended care facility. We've brought him food and water from the Monroe County United Ministries Food Bank. We've appeared for court dates with him, and through the use of our documentation and Health Net's assistance, they've kept him from being incarcerated. On his birthday this year, Shelby and I went and visited him and brought him some cognitive games because before his traumatic brain injury, he was a very talented mathematician. And then since we started seeing him in April, he has not had a single visit to the emergency department.
All right, so my patient, she was calling 911 for having pretty frequent kind of tongue swelling allergic reactions. Every time she would call, it would end up being that she would call or she would sign we call it an SOR, which is signature of release, which is basically her not going to the hospital from there on. We figured out from our first visit that at that initial time, she had a lot of deaths initially. And a lot of things happened very quickly for her, when she was calling 911 a lot. So once we got involved with her and kind of got to the root of the issue, realized that yes, she was having the tongue swelling, but this was more of a kind of mental health, anxiety, depression thing. We kind of digged a little bit into that and got her some resources for the anxiety. Also even kind of went and knocked on her primary care's front door and said, hey, what else is going on here? Just because she wasn't getting the answers that she needed and somebody had to be that voice for her. We were able to also refer to her for Area 10. I am able to I talk to her at least once a week, if not more. Actually, yesterday, she just celebrated her birthday as well. In the process, she was able to, in this time since I've been with her, she was able to reestablish a relationship with her estranged son. And she talked about that the reason why she had that estranged relationship was because her son said that she wasn't taking care of her medical needs. And because of the fact that we intervened with her and showed her how important that was, showed her how important it was to take care of your medical needs, and that somebody finally heard her and cared for her, that she was able to establish that relationship with him again. And he was so glad that we were present with her. And so now she has that relationship with him again. And they just went to dinner last week. So she's able to talk to me at least once a week about that. She has this new trust in us and new trust in healthcare providers based off of just us coming in and saying, hey, what's going on? So it's just one of those cool stories with her.
I've got one more cool success story as I'm running out of time. And this was a really cool one for me. So when I responded to a gentleman in assistance with the mobile crisis unit, a gentleman that had been living in a garage, an unfinished garage, after he'd been unhoused for 9 years. And he was only living in that garage because a local pastor had not wanted him to freeze to death. So I had done a visual assessment with this gentleman, and it was very clear that he was very, very sick, but he had declined all cares. And when I had responded, I was human service professional number 11 to respond to him. For some reason, he let me come back, and he had no form of identification. He was unable to receive any sort of Medicaid or anything like that. But when I came back, I convinced him to go to the hospital with me. And that evening, that was a Friday, that evening I received a call from the physician that they had to do emergency surgery on him and he would not have made it through the weekend. So this was huge, right? But this was just the very, very beginning of my time with him. Because he had no form of identification and no insurance, it was not long after they did the surgery that he was right back to where he was. So I was able to help him regain his identity. So I worked with him to get his birth certificate, which was a lot. We had to work with legal and that sort of thing in order to get that. And then after we were able to do that, we were able to work to get his Social Security, which ultimately led to Medicaid and Medicare. Huge, right? This is a big deal. So one of the really cool things that he now resides in an extended healthcare facility, receiving the care that he needs. And I tell you that we go see him because sometimes when he doesn't want to listen, that facility will call me and they'll say, hey, can you come see him? And I said, yeah, I'll be right there. So I can tell you he's someone that means a lot to us and a huge reason of why I continue to show up every day. So obviously, you've heard all about how mobile integrated health makes a difference. We are perfectly suited to continue to grow and evolve with our Bloomington community. We are patient-centered and we advocate, and we're just really grateful to get to be a part of the community.
Yes, can you tell me the differences between what you do and home-based healthcare agencies and similarities?
Yeah, so the difference between us and home health, right? So home health has the unique ability to go in and spend several hours with a patient and provide on-site skilled nursing. Sometimes that's additional where they can do house chores and that sort of thing. As EMTs, we're perfectly suited to be able to look at health assessments and establish trends, right? But our goal is to then get them established with home health if that's what they need long-term. So while we do some of the similar things, we are not home health at the end of it. We get to make those home visits, but our home health agency is incredibly important, and we have wonderful ones in the city of Bloomington that I cannot say enough great things about. We get to help connect them with the right home health agency for them.
I have to talk into it. Yeah, thank you very much. This was really illuminating. Let me ask you what your relationship to the fire department is.
Yeah, so we are actually, I guess I should have started that. We are members of the fire department.
Yeah.
We are just civilian members of the fire department.
Right, that's what I thought. I want to know whether moving the fire department to the showers building is going to enhance your effectiveness.
I can tell you right now that our headquarters, which is where we're stationed out of, right now, we serve, even though we're stationed out of headquarters, we serve all departments. So I can tell you that it really isn't going to so much matter where exactly you put us because we serve all of them. It's not a whole lot different from us as to where we are currently at headquarters because we still serve all of them. So we have to be available to all of them.
Well done. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
My name is Jeff Richardson. Thank you so much, all of you, the whole team. It was really uplifting, inspiring. I wish you were around when I worked in the prosecutor's office for 3 years. I mean, I can't tell you the lack of connectivity with people in need, and not because of any intention on anyone's part. It's just this network that you're describing and how you work with each other and how integrated you are. It's really inspiring. In that context, though, I'm going to make up a mini case study for you, and this may or may not happen, but let's assume you go into a home and you do the best you can, but you see evidence of domestic violence or evidence of child neglect. How do you navigate in that? Because you want to be returned and you want to help change, but there may be a point where you say, you know, this is beyond our ability. And so how do you work in that context? And again, I hope that's the exception to the rule, but it's out there, as you know, and I'm curious. Just walk us through that. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not really the exception. So as mandated reporters, we know with elder abuse or any sort of suspected child abuse or neglect, same with elder neglect, we're mandatory reporters, right? So we know to make those reports. We also have a really good working relationship with APS. I am so grateful for them. At any point for us, when we have a red flag in our, it's like, hey, something's going on here. We always will make the call because then they will go in and do their assessment. It doesn't always turn out that it's something that they can do, but I am really careful to, especially when it's a domestic situation. We have one of those right now. We are very careful when we're having those conversations. We hand things privately but we've also alerted the people that need to be alerted. We know that people can choose to live how they want to live, even if we agree with it or not. But in situations where they're protected parties, protected bodies, we know that we have to report it.
Thank you and your team for visiting us today. What would you say is one of the most valuable things to know for someone, an elderly person that wants to age in place?
Don't wait. Don't wait to ask for help, or don't wait if you have questions. So many times when we are going into homes, we're seeing people waited for so long because they were terrified that if they asked anything, they were going to immediately go into a nursing home and lose everything they had. That's not the case, right? So the quicker someone can say, hey, I'm just needing some basic health or house stuff, or hey, I'm having a hard time getting out of the house, and let's talk about how do we get some warm meals? Or hey, I can't get to my doctor's appointments. So then I'm not getting the prescribed medication. The earlier they say something, the quicker that they can get the help and the better the outcome.
I just wanted to know, I had two questions. Is it up to the dispatcher when one calls 911 to decide what group to send out to help that person? And secondly, how do your services differ from those of HealthNet here in town?
Yeah, so the first question, when someone calls 911, dispatch does determine who gets sent. So I will tell you, we are not dispatchable. We follow up after a referral. Now, that doesn't prevent somebody from being on scene and calling us and saying, hey, could you come take a look at this? But it's somebody on scene, it's not dispatched. So dispatch does ultimately make those decisions about who gets sent when. And then the second part is how do we differ from HealthNet? So HealthNet is solely medical based, right? And I know that they have a social worker on staff because we get to work with her. But because we do holistic care and we get to go in and look at, okay, are we also needing to address other social services issues that's not just medical based? So what's really cool is HealthNet we can recognize that these people need primary care, right? But then we can also say, all right, we don't just need primary care, but we need, how do we get back involved with the community? Because we're really struggling with depression at home and we need to get out of the house. We can help with those sorts of things.
Yes, first of all, it's really heartening to hear about this wonderful service. I'm glad you brought it to our attention. It also sounds as if this is something where you're not asking as the first question, where's your insurance card? It sounds like this is really something accessible, and that also pleases me. My question is then, how does this relate to the Stride Center? Is there any relationship there? Do you coordinate either going to or coming from? Thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to address the insurance part. Because we're funded by the city, there is no additional fee for our service, right? So that's a really big deal for us. And then we're providing care to people that actually really financially cannot afford care. So that's a really big deal. Now that doesn't mean that when we coordinate with somebody that person might not have a fee, but us going to see somebody is not going to cost them anything. As far as Stride goes, we work closely with Stride and their mobile crisis team, as I mentioned. They're an easy source to coordinate with, very open to helping. We serve the same people. That's, I think, what's so important to know. With all of these agencies in general, we're serving the same people, right? So we have to be on the same team. And Stride is one of them that does a really good job of being on the same team. We will get them to them, and if they know that somebody is out, they will communicate with us too, if we should be on the lookout for them.
Wow, another great program. Thank you, program committee, and thank you, four ladies that are here today. We thank you for your service to our community. Several people worked hard today to make this event happen. Again, program committee, thank you for the job you do, the great job. Our greeter was Steve Wicks, and also he did introductions of our guests, so thanks for doing double duty. Joy Harder was our Zoom host. This reflection, an outstanding reflection, Hannah Hirsch. We know the ABCs now of Rotary. Our reporter is Bill Perkins. Thank you, Bill. Dave Meyer, camera and mic operator, and obviously Tyler Martin Nichols for his great work. Our next meeting, obviously next week, will be in this room, and it'll be Mike McAfee from Visit Bloomington. So again, please stand and join with me in the four-way test. The four-way test of the things we say, think, say, and do. First, is it for, well, second, is it build all good, sir. Third, will it build good friend and better friendships? Fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. And fifth, is it fun? One last thing, in honor of our speakers today, obviously the big brothers and sisters will receive a donation. So thank you very much.